It is the Flow Friday Night Sports Show, and let's have a look now at what's been going on in Northern Areas footy. The great Graham Spud McKay is looking to the sky for some rain, but not getting any of that. He's turned his attention to the footy. How are you, Spud?
G'day, Jace. Yeah, I don't know whether it's turning my attention to the footy was a great idea either. We didn't have a great Saturday.
Well, probably not. It was raining goals at Orara, and I guess that's where we might as well start. Unfortunately, no precipitation from the sky, but plenty of footballs going through the big sticks down the Orara end, not so much down at the Jamestown Peterborough end, mate. Tell us about this one.
Yeah, look, it was just a very poor performance. Orara kicked off in the first quarter and they had 9-4 on the board, and Peterborough couldn't manage to even kick a point. So Chris Stacey at quarter time was fairly vocal, not happy with the start, but it didn't help much because in the second quarter they kicked another 9. So at 18-10 to 1-1 at half time.
Oof.
And I guess the only thing you could say was the third quarter was a little bit better because Orara only managed about 4 goals, 6 in the third quarter to Jamestown Peterborough's 1-2. But then after a bit of a rev up at three-quarter time, they've come home with 10 goals. And so it was just not the sort of result you want to see, just too big a margin. But unfortunately, you know, Jamestown Peterborough will just have to stick at it. And hopefully they'll sort of learn from that one and give a better effort for their coach this week.
Well, let's hope so. The final scores, as Spud's pointed out there, they finished out at this: 32-21, 213 to Jamestown Peterborough, 2-3-15. That's a 198-point margin. Goodness gracious me. Homsch booted 6, Bowman 6, Reid 5, and I'm going to stop there, otherwise we'll be here all day. Hughes, Nicholas, Lee and Reid named best for Orara. And for Jamestown Peterborough, White, Hall, Cunningham and Bray all tried hard. White and Robinson with their goal kickers on the day. Tell us about White. This guy looks like he can seriously go.
Matt White, he's good. And I should just mention that Darren Hughes from Orara won the Anzac medal in this match too. So I'll give you the other medal winners as we go.
Sure.
So yeah, Matt White's a good customer, showing a fair bit of promise, and I reckon he's one that can sort of develop, and then he just needs a few of the other younger ones to come along with him.
Yeah, indeed. All right, we will move on and we'll head to Gladstone there. This is where the close one was, and it was Southern Flinders in the end over BMW. They got the money 11-5-71 to BMW 7-7-49. A pretty tight contest for 3 quarters with Southern Flinders only really clearing out in the last term, right?
Yes, that's correct. BMW actually led it at half-time but weren't able to sustain it. But Southern Flinders did come home in the last quarter there with 4 goals to run away from BMW. So this was a bit of a surprise. We didn't actually, we didn't really know exactly how Southern Flinders were going to stand up against the better opposition because we'd seen them the first week against Jamestown Peterborough, and we wanted to just see them up against better opposition. But they've proved that they have picked up some players that are sort of a big benefit to them. Scotty Galbraith is playing well, so that sort of means that they can probably look forward now to cementing on this and perhaps now looking to see what they can do against some of the sides that finished above them last year. Yeah,
absolutely. Zeke Kay is an interesting pickup as well. Originally an EP boy, I think, from the Lock area, but has played some footy now with Southern Flinders for a bit, I think. So
yes, he has. Yeah, he plays in the back line. A really good player too. A solid defender for them.
Yeah, absolutely is helping them out. But Amy, Bruce and Kay named in their best, along with the 2 Kanga boys and Wolford for BMW. Amy booted 4 up front, Coombe 2, and our man Christopherson booted 2 goals for BMW. Who was the medal winner here?
Yeah, well, the lad that kicked 4 goals, Tyson Amy, managed to get the Anzac medal there, so well done to Tyson.
Yeah, absolutely. That's an honour. The final match of the round was Broughton Mandurah heading to Crystal Brook, and the Chooks of Crystal Brook were plucked 7-11-53 Broughton Mandurah 16-13-109. Way too good, Broughton Mandurah. They'd be pretty pleased with this win.
Yes, they rebounded after their first week's loss to Orara. There wasn't a lot in it at half time, 3 goals, but then they had a really good third quarter and whizzed on 7 goals. So the last quarter was just a bit of even flow between both sides, 3 goals apiece. So, Crystal Brook, they now need to sort of regroup a little bit too, because they would have liked to have won that one on their home ground. Tommy Whelan was the AP Sullivan medal winner. That's the only medal that's named. The other 2 aren't. They're just called Anzac medals. So AP Sullivan is actually originally from Crystal Brook. So well done to Tommy Whelan. He's a really good defender for Broughton Mandurah. Yeah,
fantastic. O'Donoghue and Hayes in their best as well. Searles and Ramsey and Hewitt all booted 3 for Broughton Mandurah. Hill, the lone multiple goal kicker for Crystal Brook, but Kirk, Millard, Capitola named their best. Just too much left to too few at the moment for Crystal Brook.
Yeah, it appears that way, but again, like they probably need, if they've got the personnel there, I think, to be better, but just not clicking as a group. So we'll have to see what happens this week.
Well, that's right. We'll get to this week because it doesn't get any easier for Crystal Brook. They host Orara this week, who have come off a cricket score the week before. They'll be full of confidence and doesn't get much easier for the Chooks.
No, it doesn't. You could not see Orara. I mean, obviously we can't really look at what they did against Jamestown Peterborough, but if we analyse their team, Darren Hughes as a ruck rover changes off a half-back flank there, so he sort of is playing in really good form. But they're on ballers in John Nicholas, Tom Moten. Matt Delmenico is a good, handy pickup for them. He usually rows for them. But I think their forward line now looks pretty good, because the addition of Patrick McCarthy playing centre-half forward, he managed to kick 4 goals there last week, and Luke Bowman at full forward for them. So I think with the strength of their on-ballers, that's going to give those forwards a fair chance to kick a bag again. Crystal Brook, on the other hand, well, they've got to try and get it out the centre, and that's not going to be any mean feat, because Oraru's Aidan Lee in the ruck is probably the best, or the number 1 ruckman around at the moment. So he's obviously going to win it, and Crystal Brook will have to row to probably a losing ruck there, and then they'll need Luke Capitola, Joel Millard to be able to sort of get enough of the ball out the centre to get it down to their first forwards. Daniel Hill only managed a couple of goals last week, but he's capable of kicking a bag if they can give him the supply. And Darren Chillibeer at centre-half forward would be able to sort of dominate a game if he's given the opportunity. So I don't think that's going to happen, though, because I reckon Orara will just be too good in the on-ball department.
Looks that way. At Port Broughton Mandurah will welcome Southern Flinders to town. This might be match of the round stuff. This one, I think, should be beauty.
This is a hard match to pick, because there was a couple of things happened in the last quarter, or might have been in the last quarter either, when Broughton Mandurah were playing Crystal Brook there last week. Hamish Snitsky, I believe, has done a knee and may be gone, and Tom Button went off with a knee. Now, don't know how serious his knee injury is. Hopefully it's not as bad as what you sometimes hear when you hear of knees. You hear of a season-ending one, but hopefully that's not the case. And Matty Hayes also went off with an ankle in that one. So depending on how many of these players are able to sort of come back, that will have a bit of a bearing on this, because Southern Flinders, with their coach Nick Pearce, I think he went off in the fairly early last week too with a bit of an ankle. So there could be a bit of a cloud over him. But their on-ballers in Scott Galbraith is very, very good player. And Jackson Bruce is a handy pickup for them in defence. So they will sort of, I reckon, give Broughton Mandurah. This will be a really tight game and hard to pick. Broughton Mandurah, because it's home, I'd say, well, they'll certainly want to give their best effort. The 2 bowling boys, Kane and Mitchell, that they'll have a fair influence on what happens here. And I've already mentioned Tommy Whelan in the back line, very solid there. So it'll be really tight, but I think Port and Mandurah just because it's their home ground.
All right. And the last match of the round, Jamestown, Peterborough will need to regroup quickly, and they'll head to Wilmington this week to take on BMW, who'll be smarting after last week's game. Never a good time to get any team, but BMW have a bit of talent, and probably not an ideal week for Jamestown, Peterborough to be picking them up.
No, it's not. And I think BMW will get back their captain, and Nick McCullum. He hasn't played the first couple. So he comes in really strong across the half-forward line for them. I think BMW will just be too strong, but what you'd be looking for from Jamestown Peterborough is to see ones like Henry Hall, Tom Kelly, young players to sort of come in and help Matt White out. The Boomard boys, Drew and Max, they are the players that need to step up for Jamestown Peterborough. And it's going to be hard. Their ruckman in Simon Jackson will have a bit easier road this week against BMW than what he did against Aidan Lee last week. So if he can get his hands to the ball first in the centre there and give Jamestown Peterborough on ball his first use of it, it could be a bit different to what it was last week. But you'd have to think BMW will win this and win it fairly comfortably.
All right. Another interesting week in football coming up around northern areas. Spud, anything else for us?
No, that's about all for this week, Jay. So I don't think I've got much more. Just
right.
See if you can rustle up a bit of rain. That'll be great. And we'll see what happens.
I'll put the order in, mate. All the best. Fingers crossed we do get some of that wet stuff from the sky soon. And we'll check in with you next week to see how the footy went.
Thanks, Jay. Catch you next week.